It's Jordan Mulligan from the Mulliganbrothers, and today we're talking about the death of identity with Aubrey Marcus. A really interesting guy to talk about death of identity because he balances the spiritual world and spirituality so well with being a success story and a CEO. And these two worlds seem like they can't merge, but somewhere in the middle of that is the death of identity. Today's video was sponsored by BetterHelp.com, where you can find professional therapy, linked down below. Something I have been doing for over a year now, and I can't recommend it enough for a spiritual journey. It's a tough one, but it's worth doing. And also, Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can buy the Inspire Change t-shirts, is linked down below. Before that, let's find out what death of identity is and means with Aubrey Marcus.
For anybody who knows me, plant medicine has been a big part of my journey for 23 years. It started with a vision quest with psilocybin in the mountains when I was 18, and that was the first death of my identity. I came into that journey an angry atheist who didn't believe in anything having to do with spirituality. Then I felt my body literally evaporate, and something that I could only describe as a soul or consciousness remain that felt unborn and undying, and I was like, shit, I got to rethink the entire structure of what I know about myself. So that was a first major identity death. And it came at a perfect time because I was transitioning out of really competitive basketball. So basketball was a big part of my identity. So that aspect was dying. Living with my parents in my house, a lot of things were dying, and that's why these transition points are important. And I feel very blessed that I was guided through that transition point with something that could actually facilitate a complete identity death and then the rebirth on the other side. So that was the first significant one. And many of them have been marked not by an external thing, but by an internal process. I actually go hunting for these through these great plant medicine traditions. Another big one was my first ayahuasca journey. It was so significant that I ended up changing my name to my middle name, which is Aubrey. I went into the ayahuasca journey as Chris Marcus, and I came out of the ayahuasca journey as Aubrey Marcus because I was so significantly shifted from that experience. So I've really embraced this idea of allowing my identity to die so something new can be reborn.
How do you deal with the process of the die and the rebirth, the bit in the middle, you know, where the anxiety lies and the change and upheaval lies?
Again, the idea of the part in the middle as the identity shifts, it is a painful part, but I took the accelerated path more often than not in these plant medicine experiences. And again, these are ceremonial journeys guided in many times, like in the case of the Quechua Maestro Orlando Chuandama. He's a 3,000-year-old lineage of Quechua healers, past grandfather to grandson, leading people through these type of rituals. So in that context, you die entirely in a night or in a week. And it's brutal. I mean, my journeys were brutal and beautiful, but the process was accelerated. So instead of something extended over a long period of time, it was condensed into a shorter, far more intense period of time. And then the integration was a lot more gentle than this long, prolonged period where you're in the purgatory, the void in between identities. You're just in the ash state. You know, the plant medicine journeys really helped me go down to ashes quickly and back up to phoenix and feathers a lot quicker.
And just for someone who's had the experience with it, what is like an ayahuasca journey like? What is ayahuasca as well? Like how would you explain it to somebody who hasn't experienced it?
Ayahuasca is one of the most powerful psychedelics in the world, and it combines the vine, which is actually ayahuasca, where ayahuasca gets its name, with the leaf, which is usually chacruna or opayaje or wambisa, a DMT-containing leaf. And the vine makes the DMT orally active in the body, because if you just eat a bunch of those leaves or make a tea out of them, you won't have any psychedelic effect. But combined with the vine, you have a very potent psychedelic effect that lasts for 6 hours. And it gives you access to undeniably another realm of consciousness. It feels like another dimensional reality, and you have visions and you see things about your own life. You get encounters with beings or spaceships or whatever might convey the information that you need to heal and transform. often comes through. And every journey is different. Sometimes you don't see any visions. Sometimes it's more physical, and it's just the purge that comes out of your body, energy that you're releasing through vomit or through, the other direction, or sometimes both at the same time. They call that affectionately double platinum, when you're purging out of both ends at the same time, which I make fun of, but it happens to me frequently. But it's this interesting dance where you feel like you're in communication with the spirit of ayahuasca, which is really the spirit of the earth, of Mother Nature herself. And she's the loving grandmother that's there to heal you and show you a way.
Is there a way to touch on that similar kind of energy for someone who's not willing to go into the realm of ayahuasca, like through other different ways, like meditation, or is there another way of doing it?
Absolutely, ayahuasca is not for everybody. Just because it's my path and it's one of the ways that I was able to learn about myself, transform and grow, this is not a recommendation. I never want to be there saying I recommend psychedelics to anyone in particular. I'm just talking about my experiences, and my experiences were very profound and very important. But it's a personal calling. It's a very personal process, and it is only one way. There are many ways. I think something that I can universally recommend is breath work and ecstatic dance. Those two things, I think, if you're actually able to go deep enough into both of those pathways, you can find massively transformative, transcendent experiences from both of those. You just have to take them to the level of depth that allows you to access, the healing that you really need. Meditation is something that I think people love throwing it around. It's like everybody talks about meditation, but very few people actually really do it. And I was like one of those people. I was like, yeah, meditation. But how much was I meditating? Not much, a little bit here or there. It's difficult. It's a more challenging process, and I've learned the ways that really work for me. Meditation in my life is less about transformation and more about allowing my body to really rest and allowing my mind and everything to come to a greater stillness and a greater integration. But if you're talking transformation, to me, it's breath work and ecstatic dance.
I just want to take it back to when you first reached that success, or perceived success from other people. And, as an ambitious young man, playing basketball, having ambitions of, becoming whatever you wanted to be, to finally achieving that, how did you manage materialism and buying into sort of what everybody else would have bought into? Is it something that you did at the time? And from that, how do you manage it now? Like, how do you not get attached now? Or if you do get attached now, like, I'd love to know your opinions on it.
One of the things that I'm the most interested in now, and I'm actually looking at to write my next book about, is a clarification of desire. Like, what do you really want? And I've asked that question to myself, what do I really want? If I want a new watch, well, why do I want that new watch? Do I love it because I love the chronography? I love how intricately detailed it is. And is it just beautiful? Okay, I think that's a good reason to buy something. If you really love something because it's beautiful and you love it, great. Same with a car, same with anything else. Like, the allurement to something beautiful that you appreciate, I think is a virtue. But if you're doing it because you're imagining that other people looking at you are gonna think that you're cool, or that you're gonna be able to show off your wealth and it's gonna give you some kind of status, well, that's a game of the ego. That's putting yourself in hierarchy with other people for some advantage. And so what do you really want from that? Well, you want people to approve of you. You want to be loved. You want to be seen. You want something else other than the watch. And the watch will never get you what you want. So you're actually trying to fill a need with something external that really you need to look inside and fill internally with your own self-love and your own understanding of your own worth. So when it comes to what I want to buy and what I want to create, it's more of a question of why do I want it and which part of me wants it? And as long as I can answer that question, then let's go.
And there you go, the death of identity. For me, it balances in between that spiritual world and the CEO materialism world. And that is where it happens for me. That's when I listen to his stories and I listen to what he has to say. I see that happening. I think so many of us, especially on this YouTube channel who watch these videos, we are running towards success, perceived success, and the balance between these things, it really plays with the ego quite a lot, but we still want to find spirituality and a spiritual balance and an inner peace as well. It's very difficult to balance them, and I do like what Aubrey Marcus got to say. If you want to hear more from Aubrey Marcus, head over to his Instagram. He has loads of free resources, and again, something that's worth following and just having a look at. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Jordan Mulligan Brother, and I would say it's worth following me as well. Come say hello. Today's video was sponsored by BetterHelp.com, where you can find professional therapy online, and it's something that I've been doing for over a year, every single day of the week, and it's been one of the biggest spiritual journeys I've ever been on in my life. I fully recommend it, but it's not for the faint-hearted. It's a very, very tough thing to go through, but it's worthwhile when you get to the other side. Links down below. It's also sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com. You can get the Inspire Change t-shirts. It helps support this. It means we can fly to Texas and film people like Aubrey. We're from the UK, so making that possible is down to you guys. So thank you so much. Have a blessed and productive day. Share this to inspire some change, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.